to grab good old AirPods so that when I move, you can hear me. Oh, and welcome, Bunny. The mat is out. So Bun is in. He is leaving gifts on my mat. Apparently he got very excited. So thank you for being here. Evening Hatha is in the bunny room. Really thank you for being here because this is one of the last bunny room additions we're gonna have as we transition into other things and spaces in life. So let me move all these bunny gifts because that is just that's real life there with buns. So I'm Carmita for this evening Hatha. It can be an adaptive practice. I know last week we took it to the furniture, the chair, made it a chair yoga class. And Bunny loved that. Oh my gosh, Bun, how do you, he likes all these fun things for me so quickly. And so, oh goodness, what a good Bun. So thanks for always sticking around as we work through technical kinks, as we try out different things. And as I hang with Bun and invite him to the practice the mat, he just had dinner, so he is full of little gifts to share. We tend to talk about a lot of the time in classes some of the things that are going on with him and his little life changes, and the most recent one has been us in this grinder. We've been using this nail grinder on him, and he's been doing pretty well, still getting him used to it. It's easier getting the front nails than the back. Open to tips and tricks if you have any in regards to bunnies getting their nails clipped. But we also look forward to the future classes coming up. Like I said, this month has been pretty much trial and error. So just trying things, almost, what do they call that? Like they call it, there's a name for it, like when you're doing a new pilot. So these have kind of all been like pilot classes, just trying stuff out in this space while we're in a transition. So we look forward to getting things a little bit more situated and figured out as we move forward. For evening Hatha, this is a 45-minute class, or a class that runs from 7 p.m. Eastern to 7:45, 6 p.m. if you're in Central Time, and it's basically a time to allow to settle into present self, have a breath, and just kind of feel the body. And for me, that means getting time on the mat with this wild Bun. I always say do so more as what I'm saying, not so much what I'm doing, because I typically take myself out of alignment so that I can show adaptions, or so that if I don't have my AirPods, then I can speak into the camera so you can hear me better, although today I won't have to really worry about that. And I would say almost that you don't even really have to worry about everything happening on screen, unless of course you have music on, or you prefer to watch the screen but you may not need to, because it's also about doing what's good for your body. I guide the flows, but if something feels really good, if we're in a child's pose, a downward dog, uttanasana, forward fold, and you would like to stay in that pose longer, please feel free to do so, or you can come out of that pose earlier if it is not resonating with you. And so basically also if you're building on that flow and pose for yourself. So I'm just here to kind of guide the way. If you have props, you're more than welcome to do them. You can make this adaptive in seat or on bed. If you have blocks, straps, belts, rags to help you through different poses, you're more than welcome to use those. The Hatha doesn't really have a peak pose. It's more of a medium or slowed down yoga. And so we stretch out both sides of the body, but it's not necessarily preparing the body to get into an extremist pose possibly. Sometimes those classes can, but it's more of just, so let's move here, let's breathe there, and see where it takes us. So we're gonna start today on, if you have a mat, on your mat. And Bunny's like, what are you doing on my mat? This is mine. So getting started on the mat, if you're in a safe place and you feel comfortable, you're more than welcome to close the eyes. Get settled in to an easy pose, or wherever pose is calling your body, or Sukhasana, Sanskrit name, or if you're in chair, if you're getting settled into your chair. And just take a moment to breathe, check in with the body. Where is your breath going? Do you find your breath kind of staying within the upper realms of your body, or as you settle into Sukhasana or in your seat, do you find that your breath is moving down towards the lower body? Just allow the hands to rest, or maybe you have an animal with you on your mat, a cat or a dog or parrot or something that likes to hang out with you on the mat, then maybe you're showing them some love too. That's always an option. We also have the guinea pigs in here. This is the bunny room, which is now just more or less the animal room. So, oh man. So go ahead and find some more breaths. Just maybe 2 or 3 more breaths, settling into Sukhasana. Grounding into your tail grounding into what's beneath it, chair or floor. Maybe your eyes are closed, your hands can settle wherever they fall. And as you're sitting in your seat or Sukhasana, may you start to lengthen through the chest, through the center, shoulders moving away from the ears, crown rising towards the sky. Just continue to breathe. And we're going to start with some affirmations for today's flow to help us settle in a little deeper. If these affirmations or words spoken resonate with you, feel free to invite them into your soul, your practice, your space. If not, just allow them to blow by you like the wind. You can say them out loud or mentally. Inviting the words, I am safe. I am safe. I am grounded. I am grounded or grounding. Still breathing. I am love. I am love. And I am loved. I am loved. Still breathing, maybe move into some deeper breaths as those affirmations settle within. Thank you for inviting me into your safe space, a loving place full of love and light, or maybe moving away from a chaotic place into self, self-love, self-care, self-awareness. We're going to go ahead, we're going to allow one hand to come to side. You're going to extend and lengthen the opposite hand. We're going to raise it, inhaling and exhaling, and seated side stretch. As I'm moving outside of it, I will adjust. As you're stretching in the side, start to gently open up the chest, the fingers gently leading the way, guiding the way into that stretch over the body. Other hand connected to floor is there for support. If you're in chair, you may hold on to the side of seat. Make sure that you feel sturdy and secure in your chair. Take another breath. And then release. Then arm can flow all the way back down to the floor. And take it to the opposite side. When ready, inhale, exhale, opposite arm. Stretch the other direction. Breathe. Gently open up the chest if you choose. Keep that tail connected to seat or mat or floor. Breathe. And gently release. We're going to take both arms up and overhead now. And if you choose, you can have the palms facing one another or tips of fingers touching, or you can intertwine the fingers and lift and raise. Make any adjustments, any shakes and wiggles that you'd like, that your body's calling. Breathe. Vision can be forward or closed eyes, or vision, if open, has the option to follow up towards the sky to look at the hands. It's up to you. And as you're here, you're gently stretching. The shoulders are gently lowering away from the ears. The arms are going to gently maybe move forward, further backward in alignment with the ears or side body. You can also have it here. Work with your body, adjust, adapt. Feel that stretch. And then check in with self, with center. Maybe feel that stretch through the middle, center, through the thighs as the legs and feet and lower body stay grounded into seat or floor. Maybe a stretch in the neck if the head tilts back. Breathe. Notice if there's any discomfort. Breathe into that discomfort and let it go. And gently allow the head to come back forward. If you tilted it towards the back, the arms, the hands are going to stay intertwined or connected or facing one another. They're going to slowly lower outside in front of body. Now you can stay here and then allow the arms to lengthen out in front of you, or option to bring them forward close to center, flip the palms outward, and stretch out in front of you. This is going to get a stretch in your palms and hands also. Hands might be a little tight from holding devices, driving, gripping pencils or pens, what have you. So wonderful stretch for the hands if you choose. Or maybe you just have the arms stretching out away from body. Hands don't have to connect. Take another breath. Breathe into any discomfort, and you may then notice as you breathe into those different body parts, the muscles relax, they lengthen, they open. When ready, gently release. You can untangle and unintertwine the fingers and hands. Hands can come down to lap or sides, wherever you choose. And then just wiggle the fingers. Maybe clench the fist. Take a deep breath. We're going to take that behind us now. So I'm going to go sideways just so you can see what I'm doing. If you have something like me behind you that can help raise the arms a little bit higher, you're more than welcome to use that in your stretch, but you don't have to. You're going to take the arms behind you and just lift through the chest, lift through the crown. Option to raise, palms are facing in towards the back. You could use that piece of furniture to allow you to go a little bit deeper in that stretch. It's going to take it up into the arms and shoulder blades, opening up the chest. Or maybe you do that by yourself with your hands. Option to fold forward. Breathe into any discomfort. Exhale, letting it go. One more breath. And when ready, if you forward folded, slowly rise. Take a breath and release the hands. Take a breath and seated. Notice if you feel any difference in your upper body than below or than how you started. The arms, the shoulders, the chest. Just take a moment to breathe. Maybe the palms and hands are facing up. We're going to go into a seated spinal twist. So options here, adapt as you like. You can still have the legs and feet in Sukhasana, or maybe they're asking for a break or release. Feel free to extend them out in front of you if you choose. If you're in seat, just be cautious, of course. And you could use the seat to support your body as you are stretching, or if you're like me and you're just close to seat, you could always use that piece of furniture to support you in your stretch also. Otherwise, when you're ready, we're going to inhale at center, and you'll exhale and start to walk the hands out towards one side or the other side of the body. Breathing, releasing, twisting. And keep it as gentle or as intense as you like. Maybe start a little light And as you're breathing and the body's opening, you take it further and further in your practice. Chin can follow that back shoulder. Breathe into the body. Fill the lungs. Feel the lungs fill. And exhale. Sometimes you don't need anything more than your body for your practice. I don't know if you can hear that. Someone's all singing. Take another breath, and when ready, slowly release. Turn back to center. Shake anything out, and then when ready, you'll take it to the opposite side. So take your time. Breathing, inhaling, exhaling, and then start to move into that seated spinal twist. If you have your animal with you, you could always show them some love. They may be requesting some love, some cuddles, some petting in between. And then hopefully they let you get into your seated spinal twist. Breathe. And being cautious if you have the animal on mat with you. Just moving slow, not to scare them. Be gentle. And then after another breath, gently returning to center. I even have to be careful as I move on my mat, as rabbits do not really make noises, so I don't want to accidentally smush them. And we're gonna go ahead and just add a little awareness and release from the upper body. So we're gonna find some seated cats and cows. You can do these at your own pace, your own time. As you breathe, you'll start with filling up the chest, the front of body. That tail may move back as you go into cow. The head may tilt back also and lift. Inhaling, and when you're ready to exhale, you're going to find your cat. You're going to round the back. And then keep moving and grooving through your inhales and exhales. Moving at your own pace, your own time. Don't chew that. But he likes to chew everything. Everything is a chew toy for him. Or he claims it. His little licks and cuddles and rubs. Bunnies are like a mix of a cat and a dog, but a little bit more ornery when it comes to getting bath time, or like if they get like really bad. I've never had to give him a bath, but they clean themselves like cats. But those in rescue or getting the nails, he gets a little crazy. Find those last few cows and cats. Also, when he goes to the vet, he is not very cooperative. Much wildness inside this bun, just like his mother. And let out, release, really round and stretch that back in that last cat. Return to center. We're going to go ahead and give our legs a little extension, a little stretch, a little welcoming and awareness. So if you're in seat, just being cautious if you're extending those legs out in front of the seat, because you want to make sure that you're staying safe and sturdy. We're going to go into another deeper spinal twist. So we're going to allow one leg to come close and take it over the other and go a little bit deeper in that spinal twist, and same on the other side. And we're going to welcome a little downward dog. So maybe you shake or wiggle the toes or stretch the toes if you'd like, which in February, I was talking about this in another class, we're going to focus a Parley Yoga a Cafe on the feet. So that'll be February 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. We're going to give a little more awareness to those who maybe are working with mobility in their feet, or working on those, getting those muscles strengthened in their feet and toes. Anyone dealing with arthritis there, so we'll be doing that. But for now, wiggle or kind of rock those feet around, or get some ankle circles. And then when you're ready, you're going to choose a foot to bring in closer. You have the option to keep it here nice and close, or you have the option to cross it over the opposite leg. If you're doing that seated, just crossing one leg over the other. When you're ready, have the hands there to support or guide you if you choose, and you're going to twist towards the leg that crossed over the extended leg, and breathe. And notice if you get to any deeper into that spinal twist. It's a good way to detox those internal organs or massage those internal organs as you breathe. Take another breath. And then when ready, be gentle with body and release. And take that to the opposite side now. So bring that opposite leg in now, nice and close, or cross it over. Support of your hands. Breathe. And gently release. Release those legs. Maybe bend and unbend the knees, or find some toe wiggles again. Shake out anything in the upper body if that's calling you. Then being gentle, we're going to cattail it for a moment and pause as we welcome the sides of legs to go out to one side possibly. If you're seated, it might just be moving those feet to one side. We'll hold our Anja Mudra, our prayer hands in front of heart. And just breathe here, take a moment to pause and feel the body. Give those organs a moment to catch up with our movements. The eyes can be closed or open. And then when ready, release the hands down to the floor. Move with awareness, with caution. Now, if you find yourself here in this tabletop to start, after you get the legs flown around back there, you can have the feet flat behind you, or you can have the toes, as you see my toes wiggling in the background there, toes pressing into the mat. We're going to have the hands spread apart like my little bun and his little paws. He doesn't like when I mess with his paws. But we're going to have them spread apart, pressing into the mat, underneath the shoulders. Holding here, connecting with breath. Those toes may be getting a little stretch, or maybe the feet are flat or not at all. If you're seated, then you are seated, the knees are bent in front of you, 90 degrees, and your arms are going to be extended out in front of you, and you're going to be spreading those fingers away, palms facing away from body, to get a stretch in those hands once again. Now, if you have the option of going into standing from your seat, rise slowly and make your way into a downward dog. You may use the bottom portion of the seat where your hands can go to keep you raised in your downward dog. I'll show that after. Otherwise, you have that option if you're on mat to simply start to, if you haven't already, press those toes into the mat. You're going to start to lift the knees off the floor, rise, undo the knees, and walk into your downward dog. Maybe you pedal the feet, find your breath as you're pedaling into your downward dog. I'm going to go and show what I mean with the adaptation with the chair. So if you're in an adapted yoga and you're in the chair, so when we went into cattail, you may have just bent the knees and kind of allowed the feet to rest out to side, or moved the body, the direction of the knees out to side, while your torso and upper body are still facing forward here. And when you go around to do tabletop, you would take those legs out in front again, hands forward, fingers stretched out. That would be your seated tabletop. And if you have the option to stand, be slow to rise, work with your body. You would come up into standing, and you would just use where your bottom or tail would be and find security in the chair based on the type of seat you have. And you take the feet back and the head would invert, and this would be a version of your downward dog. If you are not rising from seat, your downward dog may look a bit more like this if you have that option to extend and lengthen the legs. You're going to invert, make sure you feel safe and sturdy on your furniture, and the hands could then go towards the lower shin or towards the feet ankles and invert the body. So option, you could also do it here or here. We're stretching the back of the legs, and then you could still curl those toes or bend and unbend the knees as you're here, or option to just stay here and round the back a bit. So do what works for you. So if you're on mat, you might still be in that downward dog, holding strong, maybe finding stillness, or maybe rocking a little bit side to side. Do what works for you. The heels do not have to touch the mat or floor. Work with your body. I know this is a strengthening pose, so find that final breath. And then when you're ready, slowly return to tabletop. Slowly allow those feet to settle and find a balasana rest. So you have the option to keep the hands out in front of you. Balasana is child's pose. Or you have the option to take the hands down by feet, and the forehead can rest on the mat possibly, or a block, or if you have a blanket. Find 3 to 5 deep breaths in your balasana. If you're seated, your seated balasana would be maybe you are bringing those legs in slowly. The hands will go to sides. Your belly will rest on the thighs, or you'll just fold forward gently. Whichever version works for you, find those last breaths and breathe. All right, checking the time, don't mind me. And enjoy your balasana. We're going to add to that balasana. So you maybe lift up for a moment, lift the crown, the head, and we're going to do a combo of a gentle thread the needle with our balasana. Choose a side, take an arm in close. You're going to maybe have to lift up the chest just a tad or head. You're going to take that vision can follow. You're going to twist towards the arm. It's going to thread the needle under the other. And we're not maybe going as low depending on where you're at in your practice, but just a gentle shoulder stretch here. You could do this in seated too. The arm would just go across the thigh. Vision follows. That same side temple faces towards the mat, and breathe. It also depends if your knees are aligned with the hips. You might be lifted a bit higher. If you went mat width apart, then you may be lower connected to mat. When ready, gently release. We're going to take it to the opposite side. Breathe and then flow. Be cautious of self. Of yoga pants. Take another breath, and then when ready, return to center, balasana once again. Maybe the arms go forearm over forearm and forehead over forearms. Find another breath. And then when ready, gently be slow to rise. We're going to release the arms. We're going to allow the knees to return underneath the hips if they were out to side. And we're going to go ahead and, so I have a bun in my way, but if you would like to, You're going to walk those hands forward and you're going to slowly come down into belly. And we're going to do just that. We are going to have ourselves a little bunny stretch, just like Bun did. So we're going to take the arms out in front, more of a sphinx if you choose. Your feet, toes can be pressed into mat or they can be flat behind you. And we're going to allow ourselves to lift up as much as we'd like. Start slow, start low. Have those arms out in front of you, aligned with the shoulders. Find the sphinx, hands flat. Bunny's in the bunny box now. Flat out in front of you. And you may start low, but as you're breathing and growing and lengthening and rising, head will lift, eyes forward. Belly or pelvis kind of pressing into that mat. Bun on the loose. Find a few breaths here. Option to hold here if you'd like to keep it more gentle. If you're looking to take it a little bit deeper, bring the hands in a little bit closer. Rise into up dog or up a bun in this case. And gently release, bringing it back down. We're going to go ahead and slowly roll down the body. You can have those toes back into the mat for a little stretch. We're going to roll up and then down the body. We're going to return to that cat tail. So we're going to have the toes and legs out to side. Coming back up to that tail and seated. Anjan Mudra in front of chest. Thumbs connecting to the sternum. Just take a moment to breathe. Take your time, no rush when you're rising. Watch that blood flow in the body. Moving back and forth from head to back to center to lower body. And we're going to go ahead and allow ourselves to allow the hands to come to mat. Adjust and come to center or seat if you would like. You're going to take those feet fully wrapping out in front again. We're going to slowly make our way down to our backs for a little massage on the back, on the spine, and then we're also going to do an waterfall. So if you are seated for this adaptive kind of waterfall or motion, what you might do, if you have a prop, you might have a block and put it underneath the feet just to lift your feet off the ground while you're seated. Or if you have another chair or someone who can put another chair in front of you, you have the option to then lift and raise the legs up to that second chair to lift off the floor and allow some relaxation and rest and anti-inflammatory for getting the feet lifted off the ground. So that would be an adaptive waterfall. But if you're on the floor, we're going to take a moment first to find a little massage on that lower back. So allow those feet to first maybe come to mat, slowly lower, and then option to just kind of move here or rock the knees side to side. You could also do that seated where you rock the knees side to side, or the option to pull the knees close into chest and maybe wrap the hands around and then rock side to side, or possibly rock the knees in a circle, one direction or the other. It's up to you. And then when you're ready, your version of waterfall will be to slowly raise the feet towards the ceiling. If you have a strap, you are more than welcome to use your strap to wrap around the feet, lengthen and unbend the knees to go a little bit deeper. You also, this was a favorite in my restorative yoga class of many, many students, was when they went down on their mat, they had a piece of furniture or chair that they would use to lift and raise their feet up. And for anyone dealing with any sort of lower back issues, this helped take a little bit of relief off the lower back. Also, you could put your hands underneath just lightly, or if you have a towel or blanket or pillow, you can put it underneath the lower back. That's going to take some of that pressure off. If you have anything going on with the back, it has a little relief. Otherwise, you have the option to just raise the feet towards the sky. If you have straps, it's going to wrap around the bottom, and then you would hold it with the hands So if you have a wall, you could just do legs up the wall. And then if you're in seated, like I mentioned, maybe you're using a second chair. Someone brought you a second chair to lift those legs up. You could even massage the legs to give yourself some self-love, self-care. Or option to allow the arms to rest out to sides or overhead for a little stretch. It's up to you. You can keep those knees bent or unbent and move, or pedal, or like kind of like you're cycling if you need a little movement, mobility. Or you always have that option to roll around the ankles or wiggle the toes again. So whatever, make it yours. I just give the offerings the different variations. Be here another moment or so. And then when you are ready, you'll gently start to release from your waterfall pose. It's up to you how you get out of it, depending on which variation you chose. Inhale, exhale. If you brought a seat to use in that adaptation, make sure that seat is sturdy. And we're going to do one more spinal twist. So if you decided to get a little relief off that lower back, you could actually continue to keep your feet on the chair. And for the spinal twist, just allow the knees to fall out to one side while you're doing your best with still allowing your torso and face-to-face up, or maybe your vision floats down the opposite side. Hold and breathe there. If you're on mat, then obviously you're going to allow the feet or knees just to drop out to one side. So versus the other, take all the options that you'd like with the legs. And breathe. If you're in seated, you may use that second seat to be center on the chair, but then allow the knees to face one direction or the other. Or if you've taken that second seat away, just facing the legs in one direction, both sides of knees one direction, while your opposite upper body goes the opposite direction. So it's up to you. Take a moment to settle into that and breathe. And then when ready, at your own pace, at your own time, no rush, no worry, you'll slowly allow everything to realign and center. And then take the knees to the opposite side. Torso is facing front, our vision is front or opposite direction. It's up to you where the hands go. Breathe into the body. Really relax those knees on top of one another, side by side, that lower body. And when you're ready, no rush, no hurry, nice and slow, gently allow the knees to return to center. And here you'll stay upon the back or spine or upon the seat that you find yourself. And you're going to gently allow yourself to make your way into your moment of peace or Shavasana. It's up to you. Breathing, stretching, maybe take a full body stretch before you get there. Inhaling, exhaling. If the eyes are open, maybe you start to close the eyes. And just breathe. So maybe you've extended the legs. Maybe now you're starting to settle into stillness, unlike my bun, who leaves me gifts. I feel like he judges me like, what are you doing? I'm getting rid of my gifts I just gave you. Those are for later. Those eyes may be closed. Maybe you find yourself restful in your seat. Your legs could still be up on that second chair. Maybe they've slowly returned it onto the floor. And just breathe. And as you're breathing, really allow your body to settle. Now maybe the crown is not so high towards the sky. The shoulders may be relaxed. The belly may be soft. Allowing this time, this moment for peace. The mind to soothe and calm. For the eyes to rest. And just breathe. If you have additional time to remain in this moment of peace or Shavasana, feel free to stay there as long as you'd like. Maybe you gently set a timer. You have a few more minutes of peace to enjoy. Otherwise, if you're ready to get back to your day, chasing pets or kids or dreams or goals, one, breathe into those dreams and goals and exhale the chase away. Going back to the affirmations of love, safety, and security. Knowing that if it's meant to be yours, yes, do the work. Take the breaks necessary to renewal and rejuvenate, and know that you attract what is meant to be yours. If you start feeling worry or fear or anxiousness, pause and breathe, and allow the chasing feeling to fade. Reminding yourself that action and chase can be two different things. Choose action to show the universe what you are capable of, letting go and not chasing, to then let the universe do its work to bring what's meant for you to you. Maybe take a breath. Breathe, start to welcome physical movements to your body, nice and easy and slow. The eyes are closed, being gentle and soft to open them to welcome you back to your space. At this place and time, inhaling, exhaling along the way. Take any other little last movements or wiggles or breaths that are calling to you. And thank you for joining me and Bun in the bunny room for one of our last yoga sessions here before we transition onto action in our way. I'd like this flow, hopefully, to leave you off into the rest of your day with light, peace, smiles, and love. Namaste. So thank you so much for joining me and Bun, my wild Bun and his bunny box and his bunny space. leaving us gifts as he bounces along the way. We are very much thankful and grateful, as I mentioned in the beginning. This has been like a pilot season. Lots of change, lots of things happening, lots of going on, but it's so fun to be able to connect. Really, that's the point of these, is to get a little stretch, have a little fun, be playful on the mat while we are strengthening our minds, our bodies, our muscles. So I have some other offerings you can check out. Just go to any of the links that you can find, or that you do find, on my YouTube page, which is just youtube.com/c/Carmita Smiles. You can find the different classes and offerings there. If you have any questions or are interested in scheduling a one-on-one with me, totally, come on, send me a message. Let's do it. You can do it. And I'll welcome you on a journey of wellness, of awareness, and maybe even some organic coffee. So a big thing for me is that is my one thing. I love and live for the organic life and the natural living and the coffee and sustainable coffee. So if that's something that you're also into and look forward to learning more about that, feel free to reach out at any time. Otherwise, I will see you later. Take care.